on why we need to evangelize other people. Okay, at this juncture, may I introduce you to our next speaker. He is the keeper of our treasures. Of the CFC Treasury in Oman. He is our treasurer. And he was once our household leader, our first household leader. And he graduated as LP in 2004. Okay, without further ado, may I introduce to you Brother Ray Magalang.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Everybody full? Still awake?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So just like what Sis Roslyn had mentioned, we will be talking about the how. And I would encourage everybody to take notes if there are questions, especially that bearing in mind that we are here in a Muslim country, so there are peculiarities when it comes to evangelization. Okay, having said that, we will be talking about evangelization in CFC. Before I continue, I would like to reiterate something about what Brad Joseph had mentioned about the Great Commissioning. So the story of this Great Commissioning is, actually it was before Christ ascended to heaven. So he instructed his disciples to go to the Galilee, and there they should meet. When they saw him, they know that he already died, right? And he had risen. And when they saw him, they worshiped him. However, some of them still had doubt, as written in Matthew 28:16 to 20. On verse 17, it's mentioned there, when they saw him, they worshipped him. But some have doubt. Okay? Now, as we continue reading it, then again, at the end, and surely I am with you always at the very end of the age. So, brothers and sisters, I hope that with the talk of Brad Joseph, he had given us a compelling reason why do we need to evangelize. And I hope that I will be able to impart the how to make sure that it happens. Let's bear in mind that I am with you always, says the Lord. He is with us always, and we should have no doubt that He will always be with us during evangelization. Okay, having said that, there are many forms of evangelization, especially in CFC. One is mass proclamation. One example is the anniversary, right? Brad Wincy, whenever whenever our brothers and sisters organize a big fellowship, a big worship event in Manila, it's well attended by many members, and some of them bring non-members, and sometimes they are even televised. So that gives us an opportunity to evangelize. Well, another part of mass proclamation, which is becoming a trend right now, is cyber evangelization. Do you know Father Luciano Feloni? Okay? Everybody knows? Okay, bro. Father Luciano Feloni is a priest. He's an Argentinian priest that is actually living in the Philippines. And he's one of the parish priests in Manila. Now, being there, I guess for so long, he knows how to speak our language. And he encouraged, there's one good technique that, through Facebook, through videos, he gives reflection on the daily gospel. and ask each and every one of us to share in our Facebook page so we can evangelize. So that's another example of mass proclamation, which is, it's easier as compared to organizing a mass community. Next is random evangelization. Random evangelization is just like meeting a stranger, like bumping into somebody you don't know in Lulu and evangelizing. Have anybody experienced that? No? The main reason why is that Filipinos are very shy to approach. Okay? It's very shy to approach somebody whom you do not know. Unlike the Westerns. For example, if you go to the US and you're in a queue and you're in a line, somebody will just chat with you and you don't know him. It's very casual with them. But for us, it's not. But, it should not stop us. I'll give you an example. I have our household leader back then here in Sohar, Brother Wilson and Sis Genevieve. They are now in the US. And, one story of Sis Genevieve is that whenever they travel around, for example, going to Lulu or going to Sunlight or going to anywhere here in Sohar, they bring a small notebook with them. A small notebook or pen and paper. And whenever they see a Filipino, casually approach them and ask them, "Hey, are you a Catholic? Do you know that there's a church here in Sohar?" Okay? So that's, in that instance, that's one point of evangelization already. Telling that there's a church. Even if the person says, "No, I'm not, and I'm a Protestant," fine. There's Protestant church beside here. So it's an evangelization. It's a random, and we should not be ashamed, or we should not be shy, or we should not be timid in doing that. We should break our barriers of what we are accustomed to. Next is Christian entertainment. Okay, in this manual, they said it's about music, drama, dance, probably what we're having here in the parish, like programs, Red Bong, right? But another is, for example, YouTube. Okay, just listen to the gospel musics, whether it is CFC or not CFC. It can move people. Next, circumstantial or everyday or environmental evangelization. This is the day-to-day evangelization. Day-to-day meaning to say you do it with somebody whom you already know. Your neighbor. Okay, your colleague at work, or your relatives. That's when you meet them every day and slowly you introduce Christ to them. That's circumstantial or everyday evangelization. Next is strategic or selective. Who amongst you knows Brother Joey Polancos? Okay, Brother Joey Polancos now is the mission or is the unit leader of Niswa. Okay, he had started CFC in Niswa. So I asked him, how do you start? Only Brad Joey is well, I think he's close to 50 or something, and only his tata is with him. And he goes to one place wherein there's no church, nobody, now they don't know anybody. So how do you start CFC? It's mainly choosing people whom you think are potential leaders. That's why it's called strategic or selective. You evangelize them first. You jumpstart them so that you can have a seed in evangelizing others. And you can start your base there. So that's strategic or selective evangelization. The other is program evangelization. Can anybody give an example of program? Program evangelization. CFC. So that's how we do it in CFC. Okay. The last form is relational or pastoral. Now that, for example, CLP is done, you are already a member, you look at your household leaders, and they are the main evangelizer in your household. And this is what they do. Relational and pastoral evangelization. It's the evangelization which has a relationship that's already built in with it. Okay, so you can talk more about intimate matters with your household leaders. Okay. And how do we do it? Before I mention all of the details of how to do the evangelization, let's bear in mind that the best form of evangelizing is witnessing. Even if you don't talk, even if you don't proclaim, hallelujah, glory to you, O God, in public, as long as people sees that Christ is in you, you are already evangelizing. It involves simple witnessing, often silent witnesses of our growing relationship with God, of better relationship with our spouse. If people sees you as somebody who is who has a marriage which is rocky, and then at the end becomes you become an example family, it's witnessing. When people see that you are rearing your child towards God, towards the values being proclaimed by our faith, it's witnessing. It's evangelizing already. So without even saying a word, we can evangelize. So there's no excuse. Just like what Brother Joseph said, we don't have an excuse. Okay? So how do we evangelize? First, build up a relationship. Okay. Now, since Brad Wensi told us that this is a preparatory training for CLP. For example, you're going to approach a prospect. You better have a relationship with him. You cannot do the random. Probably you can start a random, but you cannot encourage somebody whom you just barely know and say, hey, can you attend our CLP? What is CLP? So you better have a relationship with him first. You should earn, this is very important, brothers and sisters, respect rather than just be liked. Because how can we become witness when we don't command respect from our prospects, from the persons that we want to evangelize? We need to earn respect. We need to show that we are respectable, that we can earn the respect. Next, take initiative. When they say no, don't give up. Okay? It's like whatever your passion is, you are very willing to share, right? If you like, for example, bro, your passion is playing the guitar. You started with music min, you organized the music ministry here because it's your passion, and you will not give up because you enjoy doing it. The same as with evangelization. We know that we are enjoying Christ in our life. So don't keep it in yourselves. Don't keep it in ourselves. Let's share it with other people. So we should take initiative. The next, human we may be, we need to be social. Okay, so one big factor that we can evangelize is that we present our household. Look, our household, our brothers and sisters. Okay, look at my household leader, what we are doing, just like what Bro Joseph has presented. That's what we are doing in the household. And the truth is, people are designed to socialize. And if people are designed to socialize, better socialize with people that can bring them to God. Next, be open in having a genuine friendship. It's not for the purpose that we are being commissioned, that we are tasked to do it. That I will do it because, oops, I have a mission. No. Because we like to build a healthy relationship with somebody else. Okay? So, how do you call it? In Filipino language, it's not plastikan. Meaning to say, you should always show a genuine relationship, a sincerity in approaching somebody because you really like him to be with CFC. Not because you are tasked or you have a quota that, okay, I need to bring one in CFC every CLP. No, it's not that. It's mainly because we want to have more friends. Not only friends in Facebook, but genuine friends. Next, once you have the relationship with him, once you have all of this, relationship, respect, genuine friendship, then start presenting him the gospel. So it is important that you also can share the Lord genuinely with him through the gospel. And probably, if you are close enough, you can always challenge him. You can always challenge him with the high ideals of Christianity. Okay, the problem here is that you can only challenge him if you can reflect it in yourselves. But we are not perfect, right? We are not perfect. That's the reason why we are all here in CFC. And CFC is not a perfect community. The brothers and sisters that you are sitting beside each other are not perfect. We have our own flaws. The only thing that's good is that we rely on Christ to be the center of our family. And then finally, invite them to CLP. Okay, that's how we evangelize. I think I'm done. Okay. Before I go to this parable of the net, I just would like to summarize the main highlights of how to evangelize. The do's and don'ts. 1, we should not make our mission as functional, meaning to say we should build a relationship. 2, do not be shocked if you see somebody who is having an affair. Okay, if you see somebody having an affair, or a drunkard, or somebody who is not really worthy, don't judge him. Just invite him. Okay? We should not be shocked. In fact, person. Okay? They have relationships, they have families. If you can evangelize him, okay, and drops his family, the family will complain. The family will complain to the Awqaf, which is the, what is Awqaf, Pradwensi? It's a religious ministry, right? It's a religious ministry. Now, the religious ministry will then call the church. Hey, what are you doing with my brethren? Okay, what are you doing with him? Why are you doing this? It has more complex ramifications, more complex consequences. In the Philippines, in our countries, that's fine. We can evangelize Muslims, yeah, that's fine, but not here, because it has a more complex ramifications with us. I'll just tell you one story. We just have, before one time we had I think it's a Christmas party or an anniversary, and we did it in an open rooftop of one hotels. Unfortunately, some brothers and sisters brought in locals as their friends. They brought them there. The next thing we heard, Father Rahul was summoned by the Awqaf. That's how fast and rapid the communication here and sensitivity of the issue. So, with that, we would like to always evangelize the non-believers, evangelize those who are being astray, evangelize our friends, our loved ones. Just be wary about the locals, the Muslims. Okay, going back to this, the parable of the net. Once again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net that was let down in the lake and caught all kinds of fish. When it was full, the fishermen pulled it up on the shore. Then they sat down, collected the good fish in baskets, but threw the bad away. This is how it will be at the end of the age. Okay, and so forth. Now, what I reflected on this, I actually got this from Father Luciano Feloni, while I was listening to his video one day. And it has something to do about evangelization. Let us be the net that God uses. Let us be the people whom He will be using in gathering the people. Whether they are bad or good, whether they are worthy or not, the net doesn't choose. It's here that God will sat down and collect the good fish and throw away the bad. It's not for us to decide whom we should evangelize. It's God. And with this, may God be praised.
That was really a very enlightening talk, and thank you so much for that, Bro Ray. Based on the talks, brethren, evangelization is bringing the good news of Jesus to all the world. So indeed, brothers and sisters, as Christians, it is our duty to evangelize others. It is our duty to bring Jesus to all the world and allowing Him to work on their lives. It is our duty to share the gospel, speaking of Christ and what He has done. And as what Brother Ray has said, the best evangelization we ever do is we witness who Jesus Christ is by how we live His life and by speaking to others our own experience. And now, We will start with our open forum. If you have any queries or clarifications, you may ask it to our speakers. Anybody? Questions or clarifications based on the talks? Or violent reactions according to Bro Frank? Anybody? None at all? None at all. Okay. Now I will give again the microphone to the keeper of our treasures. And, he is, by the way, our treasurer, and he will update us on the CFC finances here in Sohar.
Wala na to.